Discipline is often admired from a distance, but rarely understood in its true form. Many people speak about discipline as if it were a motivational tool, something that appears when inspiration strikes or when life finally feels aligned with personal goals. But the reality is far less glamorous. Discipline is not a burst of motivation or a temporary state of enthusiasm. It is a quiet and often uncomfortable commitment to doing what must be done, even when every part of you would rather avoid it. The brutal truth about discipline is that it is rarely exciting, rarely celebrated in the moment, and almost always built through discomfort. Most people begin their journey toward discipline with the wrong expectations. They believe that one day they will wake up feeling ready to transform their lives. They imagine a moment of clarity where everything becomes easy and their habits suddenly align with their ambitions. But that moment rarely comes. Waiting for motivation is one of the most common traps that prevents people from developing real discipline. Motivation is emotional and unpredictable. Some days it appears naturally, while other days it disappears completely. Discipline, on the other hand, exists precisely for those moments when motivation is gone. The difference between motivated individuals and disciplined individuals becomes clear during difficult periods. When circumstances become challenging, motivation fades quickly. People who rely on motivation begin to delay their responsibilities, convincing themselves they will start tomorrow or when they feel ready again. Disciplined individuals understand something different. They recognize that action must continue even when the mind resists it. They treat discipline as a commitment rather than a feeling. Another uncomfortable truth about discipline is that it requires accepting boredom. Many people imagine success as a series of exciting breakthroughs and dramatic achievements. In reality, progress often consists of repeating small, ordinary actions day after day, waking up early when the body wants more sleep, continuing a difficult task when the mind searches for distractions, practicing a skill when immediate results are not visible. These moments rarely feel inspiring, yet they form the foundation of meaningful growth. The mind naturally seeks comfort. From an evolutionary perspective, conserving energy and avoiding unnecessary effort once helped human beings survive. But in modern life, that same instinct often leads to procrastination. The brain prefers short-term comfort over long-term benefit. It encourages you to delay effort and reward yourself immediately instead of investing in future outcomes. Discipline exists to challenge this instinct. It requires the ability to act in opposition to temporary desires. Many people misunderstand discipline as something harsh or restrictive. They imagine it as a rigid lifestyle filled with constant struggle. But discipline is actually a form of freedom. When you develop the ability to control your actions, you gain control over your direction in life. Instantly. Instead of being guided by small choices repeated over time or emotional fluctuations, every time you begin making decisions based on intention, you strengthen the habit. Transforms chaos into structure. At first, the effort feels difficult, almost unnatural. The mind resists change because it prefers familiar patterns. But with repetition, the behavior gradually becomes easier. What once required effort eventually becomes part of your identity. One of the most important aspects of discipline is consistency. Many people attempt dramatic lifestyle changes that require extreme effort in a short period of time. They start intense routines, push themselves beyond sustainable limits, and then burn out when the pressure becomes overwhelming. Real discipline is quieter and more stable. It grows through manageable actions performed consistently over long periods. Consider the process of learning any skill. Mastery rarely appears suddenly. Musicians practice scales repeatedly. Writers produce countless drafts before creating something meaningful. Athletes repeat the same movements thousands of times before reaching excellence. From the outside, these routines may appear repetitive or even dull, but within that repetition lies the gradual development of mastery. Another brutal truth about discipline is that it often separates individuals from the majority. Choosing discipline means making decisions that others may not understand. While others relax or pursue instant gratification, disciplined individuals continue working toward long-term goals. This difference can sometimes create loneliness or misunderstanding. People may question your choices or interpret your commitment as unnecessary seriousness. But discipline is rarely about proving something to others. It is about building a relationship with yourself. Every disciplined action reinforces trust between your intentions and your behavior. When you decide to do something and then follow through consistently, you prove to yourself that your word has meaning. This internal trust becomes a powerful source of confidence. Many people struggle with discipline because they focus too heavily on results instead of process. They measure progress only by visible achievements. When those achievements do not appear quickly, they feel discouraged and abandon their efforts. Discipline requires shifting attention away from immediate outcomes and toward consistent action. Results eventually follow sustained effort, but they often appear later than expected. Patience becomes essential in this process. Growth rarely occurs in a straight line. There are periods of rapid improvement followed by periods where progress seems invisible. During those quiet periods, discipline becomes even more important. It allows individuals to continue despite the absence of visible rewards. Another aspect of discipline involves accepting responsibility. It is easy to blame external circumstances for lack of progress. Work may feel overwhelming, time may seem limited, energy may fluctuate from day to day. While these challenges are real, disciplined individuals learn to focus on what remains within their control. They adapt their actions rather than surrendering to excuses. Responsibility does not mean perfection. Even the most disciplined individuals experience setbacks. They miss routines, lose focus, or encounter unexpected obstacles. The difference lies in their response. Instead of interpreting mistakes as failure, they treat them as temporary interruptions. They return to their commitments without excessive self-criticism. This resilience becomes a defining characteristic of discipline. Progress depends less on avoiding mistakes and more on recovering quickly from them. A single missed day does not destroy progress unless it becomes the beginning of a pattern. Discipline involves returning to action repeatedly, even after setbacks. The modern world often makes discipline more difficult by providing endless distractions. Digital devices deliver constant streams of information, entertainment, and social interaction. These distractions compete for attention and reduce the ability to focus deeply on meaningful tasks. Discipline requires setting boundaries around attention. Learning to control attention may be one of the most valuable skills in the modern environment. Every moment spent reacting to distractions is a moment taken away from deliberate effort. Disciplined individuals learn to create environments that support focus. They remove unnecessary interruptions and design routines that encourage concentration. Another difficult aspect of discipline is the willingness to delay gratification. Human beings naturally prefer immediate rewards. A small pleasure today often feels more appealing than a larger reward in the future. Discipline involves reversing that instinct. It requires sacrificing short-term comfort in exchange for long-term growth. This exchange often appears unfair in the moment. Effort produces fatigue while rewards remain distant, but over time, the balance shifts. Consistent effort accumulates gradually until results become visible. Those results often appear sudden to observers, but they are the outcome of countless disciplined actions performed quietly. One reason discipline feels difficult is that it demands self-honesty. It forces individuals to confront the gap between what they claim to want and what they actually do each day. Many people express ambitious goals, yet their daily actions remain disconnected from those ambitions. Discipline requires aligning behavior with intention. This alignment may involve uncomfortable changes. It may require waking earlier, reducing distractions, or confronting habits that once provided comfort. These adjustments challenge familiar patterns, which is why resistance often appears during the early stages of discipline. Over time, however, the relationship with effort begins to change. Actions that once felt forced gradually become natural. The mind adapts to new expectations. Discipline transforms from a struggle into a habit. There is also a deeper psychological benefit to discipline. It creates stability within an unpredictable world. External circumstances may change unexpectedly, but disciplined routines provide structure. They create anchors that maintain direction even when conditions fluctuate. This stability becomes particularly valuable during stressful periods. When uncertainty increases, disciplined habits prevent complete disruption. They maintain momentum and protect long-term goals from temporary chaos. Discipline also influences identity. Repeated actions gradually shape how individuals see themselves. Someone who practices discipline consistently begins to view themselves as a disciplined person. This identity shift reinforces behavior because actions become expressions of self-image rather than forced obligations. The brutal truth about discipline is that it rarely feels comfortable while it is being built. It demands effort, patience, and persistence without immediate reward. But over time, it produces a quiet form of strength that changes how individuals approach challenges. Life inevitably presents obstacles, unexpected responsibilities, and moments of doubt. Motivation alone cannot sustain progress through those moments. Discipline provides the structure that carries individuals forward, even when emotions fluctuate. In the end, discipline is less about intensity and more about reliability. It is the ability to continue showing up for your commitments long after the initial excitement disappears. It is the quiet determination to keep moving forward when the path becomes ordinary, repetitive, or difficult. Most people search for dramatic secrets to success, but the truth is often simpler. Progress grows from ordinary actions performed with extraordinary consistency. Discipline transforms small efforts into lasting change. And perhaps the most important realization is that discipline is available to anyone willing to practice it. It does not require extraordinary talent or unique circumstances. It requires only a decision repeated daily, a willingness to act despite discomfort, and the patience to allow small efforts to accumulate. The brutal truth about discipline is that it will never feel effortless at the beginning, but those who persist eventually discover something remarkable. What once required struggle becomes natural. What once felt like sacrifice becomes strength. And over time, discipline quietly shapes a life that reflects intention rather than impulse.